If anyone is freaking out about the writer's strike, House of the Dragon Season 2 filming has been going on since April and will continue to at most December, but likely they'll wrap up in October. I hope I didn't just jinx that though. This video, I just want to talk about the writer's strike, how it affects Season 2 of House of the Dragon, how it may affect other Game of Thrones spin-offs, and also George's input about how it will affect everything. Because at the end of the day, he's most likely going to give us the most correct information. So the writer's strike doesn't seem to affect House of the Dragon filming despite UK writers that are WGA members being required to absolutely stop. In fact, showrunner Ryan Condal is on set for filming and there have been promises until the strike is over that he will not edit, take network notes, or write anything for the script. HBO's head of drama, Francesca Orsi, also weighed in on House of the Dragon Season 2 filming during the writer's strike, stating, "Ryan is following all the rules and of course pencils down, rendering surfaces as the non-writing producer. If there's anything that needs to be rewritten or reshot, we'll handle that after the strike, and we'll put the resources behind revising what we need to do and reshooting what we need to do if we've made any mistakes along the way." So I love that they fully acknowledge because filming during the strike, they may need to go back and rewrite scenes or reshoot, and that she's also saying, yes, we're going to put the money behind this for you to be able to do so. Because as they've been saying, House of the Dragon was really, really successful for them. Which, you know, still makes me a little bitter about the cutting from 10 episodes to 8, but I'll get into that later. But yes, Ryan Condal is not going to write on set during the strike is what she's also confirming for us. So he is just a producer, which unfortunately means since the strike, they are not able to make any changes to dialogue or script while filming, or they are in direct violation, which leads to some pretty bad consequences. You may remember for Season 1, they did alter dialogue or add on while filming, so this isn't unheard of. A lot of changes are made while filming shows. So is this possible? I guess, but it isn't good. It isn't good that they're filming without the use of writers to go, okay, no, maybe that doesn't work as well. Maybe we should alter this a little bit. Yeah, on paper, this conversation seemed to mean a lot, but now it's just seeming kind of silly and over the top.
Dick on.
Luckily, everybody's favorite George R.R. Martin, has input on the strike and how it affects not only House of the Dragon, but other Game of Thrones spin-off shows as well. So I'm gonna read George R.R. Martin's Not a Blog post on his website, and I'm gonna cut it down to what I feel is the most relevant information. If you want his complete input, of course, just type in George R.R. Martin, Not a Blog, it'll come up, scroll down to the post, you got it. All right, I'm gonna do my George voice. Prepare your body. It won't be enough.
The writer's strike is on. No one wanted this. No writer with an ounce of sense, anyway. But the producers and the studios and the networks and the streamers gave us no choice. The guild negotiated right up to the final deadline on May 1st, but it takes two to tango. In the waning hours of May 1st, the Writers Guild of America declared a strike. The action began on May 2nd. There are pickets in the front of every studio lot, and a soundstage in LA, and many in other cities as well. Get used to them. I expect they will be there for a long time. How long will the strike last? No idea. Maybe the AMPTP members will come to their senses tomorrow and offer some meaningful concessions, and the whole thing can be wrapped up next week. I would rather not bet the ranch on that, however. I've been through several of these since I first started writing for television and film in 1986. The 1988 strike, the first I was part of, lasted 22 weeks. Oh, the longest in Hollywood history. And the 2007-2008 strike, the most recent, went for 100 days. This one may go longer. The issues are more important, and I have never seen the guild so united as it is now. So really quick, interrupting the reading of that really is very disheartening for me to hear, because as I go on with this, you're going to learn that the longer this strike goes on, the more some of our projects that we're looking forward to, Game of Thrones spin-offs or other things,
are gonna maybe be delayed a bit, which unfortunately sometimes can put them in danger of being canceled. So let me continue.
Writer strikes tend to be longer than labor actions. That's the nature of the beast. As of May 2nd, the pens are down and the computer screens have gone dark all across Hollywood. But production will continue so long as there are scripts to shoot. Those scripts must be shot exactly as they were as of midnight on May 1st. Not a word can be changed, cut, added, not a scene can be altered. All that requires writing, and from now until the strike ends, the writers will be on the picket lines, not on sets.
So again, interrupting. This means that the scenes like Allison talking to Aegon about "Are you stupid?" and, the heartfelt conversation they had, that wouldn't have been there. And to me, that was a very powerful, meaningful scene that we needed between Allison and Aegon. Okay, continuing on.
Many of you will be wondering, rightfully, about the impact of the strike on my own shows. The writer's room on A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, The Hedge Knight, has closed for the duration. Ira Parker and his incredible staff of young talents are on the picket lines. Across the ocean, the second season of House of the Dragon started filming April 11th and will continue in London and Wales. The scripts for the 8 Season 2 episodes were all finished months ago, long before the strike began. Every episode has gone through 4 or 5 drafts and numerous rounds of revisions to address HBO notes, my notes, budget concerns, etc. There will be no further revisions. The writers have done their jobs. The rest is in the hands of the directors, cast, and crew. And of course, the dragons.
So if they're able to keep filming, which I still find a bit odd that they went right from 10 to 8 episodes because Warner Media is having an absolute fucking meltdown with the idiot Zaslav. That guy is getting them in so much trouble. But George claims that those revisions were all done and the show is good to go. With no notes on set, again, I don't think that's a good idea. As for A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, The Hedge Knight, yeah, that show, I'm not comfortable with the writer's strike and how it will affect that. I think the writer's strike, of course, is much more important than any individual show. But if talking from a purely selfish end, yeah, the longer they delay that show, sometimes things become in danger and things that perhaps were confirmed, well, sorry. So I want to get to the point where we get a Game of Thrones spinoff show once every year. It would be nice to have one in the beginning and end, but I know that's just way too much. But at least once a year. And the writer's strike is kind of throwing off that balance where maybe that's not something that will be plausible for many more years in the future. Now lastly, I know some of you are super duper afraid that the writer's strike in some way affects George writing Winds of Winter. So to end this video on a positive note, I want you to hear George's response about whether Winds of Winter is affected by this strike. Here we go.
Some of you, I fear, may be having anxiety attacks just now on the mistaken assumption that the strike affects Winds of Winter. You can relax. The WGA is a union of film and television writers. It has nothing to do with novels, short stories, or any form of prose fiction, nor comic books and graphic novels, nor stage plays, nor the editing of collections and anthologies. I have ongoing projects in all those areas. That work continues unabated. And Winds continues to be priority number 1.
I don't doubt in my mind that Winds is priority number 1 with him, but when he also lists, like, oh hey, I have all these other things that I'm still writing on, by the way. Like, the writer's strike didn't affect this, so normally I would be writing for all these shows, but now I can stick my finger over into all these non-television, non-film stuff. So yeah, he's working on Winds still, but he's also working on a million other projects, which at the end of the day, you do you, boo. So yeah, I'm happy that George clarified that the strike didn't affect his writing of Winds of Winter, but at the same time, even if it did, I don't think it would affect the current output. Now, I want to end in on another executive for HBO that talked about the writer's strike and also how it affects the Game of Thrones spinoffs, and that some of them, yeah, they might be in danger. So HBO's head of drama, Francesca Orsi, shared the shaky ground that the additional Game of Thrones show spinoffs are currently on, saying about the potential shows, "They're so nascent at this point that it's more of a moot point until we realize them as real contenders for production greenlight. We're just working deeply with the writers to get in shape for potential greenlight. But at this point, no determination on whether it can go all the way." So there she's talking about how House of the Dragon through about season 4, in her mind what she's saying, absolutely she has to answer to Casey Bloys, and Casey Bloys has someone else he needs to talk to. But she believes up until House of the Dragon season 4 and A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, which is locked in, that the other shows are kind of, not there yet, and they could come or go. Even the Jon Snow sequel, that's not anything concrete right now, even though they are trying to get it there. Now, the writer's strike will affect perhaps when we get season 3 of House of the Dragon and when we get A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, because as I talked about earlier in this video, they can't write on it currently. Well, Francesca also talked about that and how it might move shows to later dates than what they would have preferred. So she shared, "While everything at this point is pencils down, I'm hopeful that we can come to terms sooner than later. Otherwise, we will have to assess what is the end of the 24 schedule. What are the shows that are going to be delivered for 2025? At this point, those shows that I'm looking to air wouldn't necessarily be ready if this strike lasts 6 to 9 months. So yes, that's a big question for us, but I think we'll cross that road once we come to it." If you're curious, she talked about how they wanted to roll right into season 3 of House of the Dragon, and how depending on how the strike goes, that might delay it a little bit, which is understandable. And even though we have to wait, probably preferable. If you do want her direct quote on getting up to 4 seasons of House of the Dragon, here that is really quick. "It hasn't been finalized yet. It's still under discussion. Fire and Blood author George and Ryan are going to meet after the writer's strike. They have originally planned to meet before the strike took place, and that was to figure out what point the series itself was going to end. Is it 4 seasons? I don't think from where I sit at this point will be any less than 4. But could be more, we'll see." So that right there is amazing news. The fact that she's going, yeah, we probably need at least 4 seasons to do this. Hey, but we could do more. And the fact that they also moved a big battle from season 2 to season 3, this could be really good news for us, even if the writer's strike delays it by some time. Now, I don't necessarily agree with Orsi, so if you want to go read her entire interview, I feel like some of her takes are kind of, I don't know, what an executive would say to make everyone feel like everything is going according to plan, which I don't fault her for. But I guess here, I'll leave you with one of the takes that kind of left a bad taste on my mouth. So she talked about why they cut season 2 of House of the Dragon from 10 episodes to 8, saying, "To be honest, we think that the audience will be just as pleased, if not more so. There was some question about the narrative shape of season 2. We were developing it with Ryan Condal and Sarah Hess, and we realized that we were sort of treading water narratively in the middle of the season. So it just felt much more rigorous, more urgent emotional arc for our characters if we compressed the season. And then that was also dictated how we would kick off season 3. Yeah, God forbid any of us take a second to breathe and just feel the gravity of a situation. Everything has to be so urgent. Go, 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 go. Oh my God. Are your eyes glazing over because just so much is your brain exploding yet? So I understand for most of us, they feel like, oh, we gotta go, 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 go. But it's okay, HBO. You can give us like an episode or 2 and the babies will scream about how it's filler. Let them scream. They'll find something else to bitch about the next week. It's fine. I'm one of those bitch babies. Anyways, like, subscribe. Let me know what you think about this. Are you concerned about the writer's strike? Do you think it will affect season 2 of House of the Dragon? And perhaps we won't get as well dialogued as we did with season 1 because now we really can't fix it and we just gotta go with what is on paper. And as we all have seen, horribly, disastrously, what's on paper does not always work on screen.
Don't wait too long. What a noble woman to marry back home. You want a good girl.
Whenever you're ready, my lord.